You versus you. The only battle that matters is the one inside you. Written and published by Echo Elevate. Introduction. You versus you. You are in a battle, not against the world, not against time, not even against your circumstances. You are in a battle against yourself. And that battle is the one that shapes everything. This book isn't about motivation. It's not about hype. It's about responsibility, clarity, truth. You versus you is a guide to the inner war you face every day, between who you are and who you could become. It's about the part of you that wants more, and the part of you that holds you back. If you've ever felt stuck, if you've ever heard that quiet voice say, "You're meant for more," this book is for you. Each chapter will challenge you, not to compete with others, but to confront yourself, to look in the mirror, not with shame, but with honesty. You'll learn how to break excuses, build discipline, redefine failure, and make daily choices that shape a life you're proud of. This journey isn't about being perfect, it's about being better, one decision at a time, because transformation doesn't happen all at once. It happens in small moments, when you choose to show up. So take a deep breath, get ready to meet the strongest version of you, because the only thing standing between who you are and who you want to be is you. Chapter 1. The mirror never lies. There's a moment we all face. It's quiet, it's honest, and it usually happens when no one's watching. You stand in front of the mirror, not just the one in your bathroom, but the mirror of your life. The reflection doesn't lie. It doesn't flatter. It doesn't care about your story, your struggles, or your excuses. It simply reflects what is. And that's where change begins. Facing what's real. Most people don't fear failure. They fear truth. They fear seeing how far they've drifted from the person they thought they'd become. So they avoid the mirror. They distract themselves. They stay busy, scrolling, working, numbing, anything to avoid that quiet encounter with reality. But here's the truth. If you want to grow, you have to look. You have to see the habits you've built, the stories you tell, and the patterns you repeat. Because no transformation happens in the dark. It starts in the light, the honest, unfiltered light of self-awareness. Think of a surgeon. They don't heal a patient without first examining the wound. They look closely. They identify the damage. Then, and only then, do they begin the work. The same goes for your life. You can't fix what you won't face. The story of Marcus. Let me tell you about Marcus. Marcus was in his late 30s. On paper, things looked okay. He had a decent job, a family, a roof over his head, but inside, he felt stuck. He was frustrated, short-tempered, and constantly tired. When he came home at night, he'd collapse on the couch, scroll his phone for hours, and tell himself he deserved the break. But deep down, he knew something wasn't right. One night, after another argument with his wife, Marcus sat in silence. The kids were asleep. The house was quiet. And for the first time in years, he looked in the mirror. Not the one in the hallway, the one in his mind. He saw himself. Really saw, not just a tired man, but a man who had let his standards slip. A man who had once dreamed of more. A man who had settled for less because it was easier. He didn't cry. He didn't run. He just admitted the truth. This is on me. That was the start of his change. Not a new gym membership. Not a new podcast. Just an honest moment. That's the power of the mirror. Avoidance has a cost. You might think you're protecting yourself by avoiding your reflection. But here's what actually happens. You stay in jobs you hate. You hold on to relationships that drain you. You make choices based on comfort, not conviction. All because you won't face the truth of where you are. Let me be clear. This isn't about shame. This is about clarity. You don't need to beat yourself up. You need to wake yourself up. Looking in the mirror doesn't mean you hate who you are. It means you respect yourself enough to want more. Because what you tolerate in the dark becomes your identity in the light. The three-part reflection. When you look in the mirror, what are you really seeing? There are three parts to every reflection. The past you've created. This is the story so far. The wins, the losses, the choices you've made. You can't change this, but you can learn from it. The present you're living. This is where you are right now. Your habits, your mindset, your results. It's the scoreboard of your life. The future you're choosing. This one is tricky because it hasn't happened yet. But every decision you make today is shaping it. The mirror holds all three. And the sooner you look, the sooner you can decide who you want to be. Ask yourself better questions. A weak question sounds like this: why am I always failing? A better one is, what behavior am I repeating that leads to these results? Weak questions lead to blame. Strong questions lead to answers. Here are 3 strong questions to ask yourself when facing the mirror. What am I avoiding that I need to face? What's one habit I know I need to break? Who do I become if I keep living like this? Say them out loud. Pause after each one. Let the silence answer. Because deep down, you already know. Reflection builds responsibility. Responsibility doesn't mean guilt. It means power. It means looking at your life and saying, this is mine to fix. You may not be to blame for everything that happened to you, but you are responsible for what happens next. And that's good news, because it means you're not stuck. You're not broken. You're in control. If you're willing to look honestly. When you take ownership, you take the wheel. You stop waiting for someone else to save you, and you start becoming the person who can carry the weight. That's when momentum begins. What you see, you can change. Don't expect to love everything you see in the mirror. That's not the point. You're not here to feel good. You're here to get better. See the flaws. See the potential. Then start choosing the version of you that you admire. That version is already inside you. But it doesn't come out by hiding. It comes out by showing up over and over again. Your first win starts here. The first win in any journey is honesty. Before the gym. Before the journal. Before the plan. It starts with a mirror. A quiet moment. And a decision. I'm ready to see who I am, so I can become who I'm meant to be. Let that be your first victory. Because the mirror never lies, but it can guide you. If you have the courage to look. Chapter 2. Comfort is a cage. We all want comfort. It feels safe. It feels familiar. It feels good. And that's the problem. Comfort is warm like a blanket, but it's also heavy. It keeps you still. It keeps you soft. And worst of all, it keeps you small. The illusion of safety. Many people confuse comfort with success. They think that when life gets easier, they're doing better. But ease is not always progress. Sometimes it's just inertia. Growth doesn't happen where you're comfortable. It happens where you're stretched, where you're tested, where you're uncertain. Think about this. When have you ever grown from doing something easy? You haven't. Growth always requires a little pain, a little fear, a little pressure. That's not failure. That's transformation. Comfort tells you, stay here. Don't risk it. Don't try too hard. But growth whispers, move, reach, stretch, change, and that whisper is the one that matters. The story of Olivia. Let me introduce you to Olivia. She worked in a stable office job. Decent pay, decent hours, no surprises. But every day, she felt a dull ache, not a physical pain, a mental one. She was bored, uninspired, stuck. She had ideas, big ones. She wanted to start a business, write a book, teach, lead. But every time she thought about it, she told herself, maybe later. I'm not ready yet. Years passed. Comfort wrapped tighter around her, like a blanket that eventually became a straitjacket. And one day, while staring out her office window, she said aloud, I'm not unhappy, but I'm not alive either. That was the moment. She realized that comfort had become her prison, so she made a plan. One step at a time. She didn't quit everything overnight. She just started moving. Forward. Out. Beyond. And step by step, she broke the bars of her cage. Today she's not comfortable. She's alive. She's building. She's uncomfortable often, but fulfilled always. That's the trade. Why we settle paid. There's a reason we stay in the cage. It's easy. You don't have to confront failure. You don't have to risk judgment. You don't have to push yourself. But here's what comfort doesn't tell you. It comes at a cost. It costs you your potential. It costs you momentum. It costs you the life you're meant to live. Comfort doesn't ask for payment. Up front. It takes it in silence. Slowly. Over time. It steals your spark, while convincing you nothing is wrong. And one day, you wake up. Years older. Wondering why you feel so empty. That's the price of staying too long, in a place that doesn't stretch you. Comfort versus contentment. Let's make one thing clear. Contentment is different from comfort. Contentment is peace. It's gratitude. It's knowing who you are, and being grounded in it. Comfort is avoidance. It's stagnation. It's refusing to reach because it might hurt. Contentment is earned. Comfort is chosen. You can be content, and still push for more, but you can't be comfortable, and grow at the same time. The two don't mix. Micro cages in daily life. Not all cages are big. Some are small. Almost invisible. That morning snooze button? It's a cage. That excuse to skip the gym? It's a cage. That habit of saying, maybe later? It's a cage. Every time you let comfort win, you reinforce the bars. But here's the power. The door is always unlocked. You just have to walk through. Freedom is found in effort. There's a powerful truth most people miss. Discipline brings freedom. Effort builds confidence. Challenge creates change. When you choose the harder path, even in small ways, you send a message to yourself. I can do hard things. And that's how you grow. That's how you break free from the cage. Not with one giant leap, but with small, steady acts of courage. Waking up earlier. Choosing the workout. Having the hard conversation. Starting the project. Facing the fear. That's where freedom lives. Not in ease, but in effort. What to do right now? Let's get practical. Ask yourself, where in my life have I chosen comfort over growth? What dream or goal have I put on pause because it feels hard? What's one small discomfort I can lean into today? You don't need to flip your world upside down. You just need to take a step. Then another. Discomfort is not the enemy. It's the compass. It points to where you need to go. It shows you what you're avoiding. And that's where your growth lives. The escape plan. Here's a simple framework to break free. Name your cage. Be honest. What are you avoiding? Feel the weight. Don't numb it. Sit with it. Let the discomfort motivate you. Act small, but act now. One change. One decision. One shift. Build the habit. Replace comfort with confidence. Earned through consistent effort. Revisit the mirror. Check in often. Growth requires constant awareness. Every day you choose discomfort. You build freedom. Every day you stay comfortable. You build regret. It's that simple. The new you starts outside the cage. The version of you who is stronger, wiser, and more fulfilled. They don't live inside the cage. They're out there, waiting. But they won't come to you. You have to go to them. You have to risk a little pain, a little fear, and a little discomfort. Because outside the cage is where life begins. So here's your challenge. Do something uncomfortable today, then do it again tomorrow. Keep going. One day, you'll look back and realize, you didn't just escape the cage, you tore it down. Chapter 3. Excuses are just stories. Every time you say, I can't, I'm too tired. It's not the right time. You're not stating a fact. You're telling a story. Excuses aren't truths. They're narratives. Constructed, rehearsed, repeated so often. You start to believe them. But stories can be rewritten. And this chapter is about doing exactly that. The anatomy of an excuse. Let's break it down. At its core, an excuse is a defense. It protects you from discomfort, from risk, from the chance of failure. But here's the paradox. The thing you use to protect yourself is the thing holding you back. Excuses feel good in the moment. They offer relief. But over time, they rob you of progress, pride, and possibility. An excuse tells your brain, it's okay not to try. But your soul knows the cost. And that cost is regret. The story of Daniel. Let me tell you about Daniel. Daniel had big dreams. He wanted to become a coach, a speaker, a leader in his field. But every time the opportunity came to step forward, he hesitated. I'm not ready. What if I mess up? There are people way better than me. So he stayed quiet, waited for the perfect moment, watched others take the stage, while he sat in the audience. One night, after missing yet another chance, he asked himself something different. What if I just stopped lying to myself? That was it. That question cracked the story. Because deep down, he knew he wasn't protecting his dream. He was delaying it. That week, Daniel signed up to speak at a small event. Nervous? Yes. Perfect? No. But he showed up. And after the talk, someone in the audience said, "Thank you. I needed to hear that." That one sentence changed everything. He stopped hiding behind excuses and started writing a new story. One built on courage, not comfort. You can do the same. The 3 most dangerous excuses. Let's get specific. Here are 3 of the most common, most destructive excuses people use. I'm not ready. Truth. You'll never feel 100% ready. Action happens first. Confidence comes after. I don't have time. Truth. You have time. You're just not prioritizing. Everyone has 24 hours. What you do with them reveals what matters most. I might fail. Truth. Yes, you might. But failure is feedback. It's not the end. It's the beginning of growth. Each of these excuses sounds logical, reasonable, even responsible. But they're just stories, designed to keep you safe and small. The power of language. Here's something most people never realize. The words you speak shape the life you live. If you keep saying, "I'm bad with money," "I hate exercise," "I'm not good with people," you're not describing yourself. You're scripting yourself. Your brain hears that message. It obeys it. It starts to believe it. So if you want to change your life, start by changing the story you're telling. Here's a better way. Instead of "I'm not ready," try "I'm learning as I go." Instead of "I don't have time," try "It's not my priority yet." Instead of "I can't," say "I haven't figured it out yet." These small shifts create massive momentum. Spotting your story. How do you know when you're making an excuse? Here are a few signs. You feel tension in your body when you say it. You repeat it often to avoid taking action. It sounds suspiciously similar to things you've heard others say. Deep down, you know it's not true. Here's a powerful exercise. Write down one goal you've been avoiding. Now write the excuse that comes up when you think about pursuing it. Look at it. Read it aloud. Ask yourself, is this true, or is it just a story I've been telling myself? 9 times out of 10, you'll realize it's fiction. How to break the excuse cycle now that we've called it out? Let's break it. Here's a simple 3-step formula. Catch it. Awareness is everything. Notice when the excuse shows up, challenge it. Ask yourself, is this true? What else could be true? Change it. Replace the story with a new action. Small, immediate, uncomfortable, but honest. Let's say the excuse is "I don't have time to work out." Challenge it. Do I really not have time, or am I choosing something else? Change it. I'll do 10 minutes today. That's enough to start. Repeat this process. Train your brain to catch the lie, question it, and move forward anyway. That's how you win. You're not lazy, you're avoiding discomfort. Most people don't lack discipline. They avoid discomfort. They tell a story that justifies quitting, stalling, or never starting. Because starting means facing fear, and fear is uncomfortable. But you can do uncomfortable things. You've done them before. You'll do them again. Every time you act despite discomfort, you weaken the excuse. 2. You shrink the story. You build the muscle of truth, and eventually, that muscle becomes stronger than your fear. The story you want to tell later. Fast forward your life. Imagine yourself 10 years from now, looking back. What story do you want to tell? That you let fear and excuses run the show, or that you faced them, rewrote them, and grew? That future version of you, the stronger, wiser one, they're counting on the story you choose today. Make it one worth telling. Final thought. Excuses die in action. You can argue with your excuse for hours, or you can take one step and silence it. Excuses don't survive movement. They vanish in progress. So what's the step you've been avoiding? Do it today. Right now, if you can. That's how the story changes. T, because in the end, it's you versus you, and you get to choose which version wins. Chapter 4. The Discipline Decision. There's a moment in your life, maybe it's now, when you realize that motivation won't carry you. It fades. It fails. It disappears when things get hard. And in that moment, you have a choice. You can chase feelings, or you can make a decision. The decision to build discipline. Motivation is a spark. Discipline is the fire. Motivation feels good. It's exciting. It makes you want to act right now. But here's the problem. Motivation is emotional, and emotions change. Discipline doesn't care how you feel. It shows up anyway. Think of motivation like a match. Quick, flashy, gone in seconds. Discipline, that's the fire you build with your own hands. It stays. It burns. It keeps going. Especially when you don't feel like it. If you only act when you're motivated, you'll be inconsistent, unreliable, stuck in a loop of on and off. But when you act from discipline, you build trust with yourself. And trust is power. The story of Jenna Letts. Talk about Jenna. She wanted to lose weight. She signed up for the gym, bought the gear, set goals, watched all the videos. And for the first 2 weeks, she was unstoppable. Then one morning it rained. She didn't feel like going. I'll skip just today, she told herself. Then the next day, she was sore. The day after, she felt discouraged. 2 weeks of momentum, gone in 3 days. Jenna didn't fail because she lacked motivation. She failed because she hadn't made the decision. The discipline decision. A few months later, something changed. She stopped asking herself how she felt. She just went. Rain or shine, busy or bored, energized or exhausted. She trained her body and her mind to move without negotiation. 6 months later, she didn't just look different. She was different because discipline had changed who she believed she was. That's what discipline does. It rewires your identity. What is discipline? Really? Discipline isn't punishment. It's not harsh. It's not cruel. Discipline is a form of self-respect. It's saying, I'm worth showing up for. It's the act of choosing your future self over your current mood. Discipline isn't loud. It's quiet, steady, consistent. It's brushing your teeth every night, showing up on time, finishing what you start, making your bed even when no one sees. It's not glamorous, but it's powerful. Discipline is how you keep promises to yourself. And when you do that consistently, you stop seeing yourself as someone who quits. You start seeing yourself as someone who follows through. That shift is everything. The pain of discipline versus the pain of regret. Let's be honest. Discipline hurts sometimes. It's waking up early, pushing through discomfort, saying no to short-term pleasure. But you know what hurts more? Regret. Regret is looking back at a year, 5 years, a decade, and realizing you played small. You delayed. You avoided. You made excuses. And the opportunity, gone. Discipline is hard now. Regret is hard forever. So the question is simple. Which pain will you choose? Training the discipline muscle. Discipline is a skill. And like any skill, it grows with use. Start small. Make your bed every morning. Drink a glass of water before coffee. Turn your phone off at a set time. Do the task you've been avoiding. Tiny wins build the habit. And habits build identity. You don't become disciplined overnight. You become disciplined one decision at a time. And over time, you become someone new. Someone who doesn't rely on motivation. Someone who acts anyway. Someone who leads themselves. Don't wait for the feeling. Create the pattern. Here's a mistake people make. They wait for the feeling, the drive, the spark. But winners don't wait for motivation. They design routines that carry them when feelings fail. Think of athletes, writers, entrepreneurs. They don't always feel like showing up, but they do it anyway because they've decided to be consistent. That's the discipline decision. It's not about hype. It's about structure, systems, strategy. It's about doing what you said you'd do. Especially when it's hard. Discipline frees You people think discipline is restrictive. They're wrong. Discipline is freedom. Freedom from chaos. Freedom from inconsistency. Freedom from being ruled by moods, screens, and distractions. When you're disciplined, you know what's next. You're not reacting. You're leading. You're not waiting. You're building. You don't feel stuck, because every action is a step forward. And that's real freedom. Ask yourself, who do I want to be? Not what. Who, because discipline isn't about tasks. It's about character. Ask yourself, do I want to be someone who keeps promises? Someone who gets up when it's hard? Someone who can be trusted? By others and by myself? If the answer is yes, then the path is clear. You don't need more inspiration. You need a decision. A simple one. A powerful one. The decision to be disciplined. Starting now. Final thought. You don't rise to the occasion. You fall to your standards in life. You don't magically rise when it matters. You fall back to the habits you've built, to the standards you live by, to the systems you've trained in. And that's why discipline matters. It prepares you, protects you, pushes you forward. So today, make the decision. The one that changes everything. Decide to be disciplined. Not when it's easy. Not when it's convenient. Now, because the disciplined version of you, they're waiting, and they don't need motivation. They just need action. Chapter 5. Identity versus behavior. Who are you? It's a simple question, but most people struggle to answer it. They'll talk about their job, their role, maybe their past, but very few people stop and ask, is who I am defined by what I do, or is it the other way around? This chapter is about one of the most powerful truths you'll ever learn. You don't change your life by changing your behavior. You change your life by changing your identity. Because behavior follows belief. Always. The identity loop. Let's break it down. Here's how most people try to change. They pick a goal, they write it down. They create a plan. Then they start doing new things. But after a few days, or maybe a few weeks, they burn out. They slide back into old patterns. Why? Because they tried to change the action. Without changing the actor, they tried to build a new result on top of an old identity. And that doesn't work. Change doesn't stick. When your mind still sees you as the old you. But when you shift identity first, behavior becomes natural. Let's say you want to be healthy. You can force yourself to go to the gym. Or, you can begin seeing yourself as someone who values health. One is pressure. The other is transformation. Because once you become the person who does the thing no longer feels forced. The story of Tyler. Meet Tyler. Tyler smoked a pack a day for over 10 years. He'd tried everything. Gum, patches, apps, cold turkey. Each time he lasted a week. Sometimes 2. Then he'd relapse. But one day, something changed. It wasn't the method. It was the mindset. A friend asked him, "Are you trying to quit?" Tyler said, "Yeah." Again. His friend replied, "Stop trying to quit. Start being someone who doesn't smoke." That hit him. Tyler realized he still saw himself as a smoker, even when he wasn't smoking. So he changed his language. He stopped saying, "I'm trying to quit." He started saying, "I'm not a smoker." The cravings didn't vanish overnight, but the belief shifted. And over time, his behavior followed. He didn't just quit smoking. He became someone who didn't smoke. That's the power of identity. Behavior is the evidence. You don't need to wait until you fully believe something to act on it. In fact, your behavior is how you build belief. Every time you do something aligned with who you want to become, you cast a vote for that version of you. One workout, a vote for being strong. 1 hour of writing, a vote for being a writer. 1 act of courage, a vote for being brave. You don't need perfection. You need enough votes to shift how you see yourself. Eventually, the evidence becomes overwhelming, and your identity evolves. That's how real, lasting change happens. Not from force, but from alignment. Your current identity was built, not born. Here's a powerful truth most people never realize. Your identity wasn't given to you. You built it. Every story you tell about yourself, every belief you hold, every habit you've repeated, all of it came from somewhere. It may have come from childhood. A parent, a teacher, a failure, a success. But just because it was, doesn't mean it still has to be. You can rebuild who you are, deliberately, purposefully. You don't have to be the version of yourself that was shaped by default. You can be the version created by design. Ask better questions. If you want to change your life, don't just ask, what should I do? Ask, who do I want to become? What does that version of me do daily? What choices would they make in this moment? When you answer those questions, you're not just choosing tasks. You're choosing transformation. And transformation lasts longer than motivation. Stop saying that's just who I am. One of the most dangerous phrases in personal growth is this. That's just who I am. You've heard it. Maybe you've said it. I'm just not a morning person. I've always had a temper. I'm bad with money. No. That's just who you used to be. And if it no longer serves you, you don't have to keep wearing it. You are not a fixed identity. You are a living system. And that system can be upgraded. The only thing stopping you is the story you repeat. Change the story, and the system will follow. The Identity Upgrade Blueprint. Here's a simple way to begin reshaping your identity. Define the future you. Be specific. Who is the person you want to become? List the behaviors. What does that version of you do daily? What habits do they avoid? Choose alignment. Every day, ask yourself, what's one action I can take today that aligns with who I want to be? Celebrate the shift. When you act in alignment, acknowledge it. You're building the new you, one brick at a time. This is not theory. This is strategy. Real, practical, repeatable. Your behavior shapes your belief, and your belief shapes your behavior. It's a loop, and you get to control where it starts. You can act like the person you want to be, and over time, your identity will catch up. Or you can wait until you feel like that person, and likely, you never will. So choose now. Act now. Be now. Don't say someday, I'll be that version of me. Say, today I take one step closer, and that step, no matter how small, is enough. Final thought. Become it before you believe it. People wait for belief. They wait until they feel confident, until they feel ready, until they believe they've become someone new. But here's the truth. You don't wait to believe. You act first. You walk like it, talk like it, move like it. And one day, you'll look back and realize you are it. Because belief follows identity, and identity follows behavior. You've just got to start walking. Chapter 6. Your comfort zone is shrinking. There's a quiet danger most people never see coming. It doesn't shout. It doesn't break things. It doesn't knock you down all at once. It creeps in slowly, silently, until one day, you look around, and your world feels smaller. That danger is called the comfort zone. And if you're not careful, it will shrink until you can't move at all. Comfort feels good, until it doesn't. Let's be real. Comfort is seductive. It feels safe, predictable, pleasant, and in the right amount, it's necessary. But stay too long, and what once felt cozy becomes a cage. What once gave you peace now steals your progress. What once protected you now prevents your growth. And here's the truth. Most avoid your comfort zone isn't neutral. It's shrinking. Every time you avoid a challenge, it gets smaller. Every time you retreat from discomfort, it closes in. The world doesn't wait. And neither does your potential. You're either expanding or shrinking. There is no staying the same. The story of Liam worked a job he hated. He didn't say that out loud. He just said it was fine. He had ideas, ambition, even talent. But every time he thought about applying somewhere new, or starting something on his own, he hesitated. What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? What if I lose what little I have? So he stayed where it felt safe, where the paycheck came on time, where the work didn't challenge him. Years passed. Then one day, The company let him go. And what hit him hardest wasn't the shock. It was the realization that he had become small, unpracticed, unready, because his comfort zone had shrunk around him. He hadn't just lost a job, he had lost his edge. That's the cost. Discomfort is your edge. Think of your comfort zone like a muscle. If you never stretch it, it tightens. It weakens. It limits your movement. But if you stretch daily, even slightly, it expands. It becomes more flexible, more responsive. Your courage works the same way. Face small fears regularly, and your confidence grows. Avoid all discomfort, and even small tasks begin to feel overwhelming. Discomfort isn't your enemy. It's your edge. And if you're not living on the edge, you're not growing. Why shrinking feels safe? There's a strange safety in smallness. When you shrink your life, you reduce your exposure to failure, to judgment, to pain. But you also reduce your exposure to joy, to surprise, to pride, to potential. You can't selectively numb life. If you shrink from discomfort, you shrink from everything else too. So yes, growth hurts, but stagnation aches even more. Signs your comfort zone is shrinking. Sometimes the shrinkage is subtle. Here's how to spot it. You say no to new things more often than yes. You avoid conversations that challenge you. You stick to the same routines, even if they no longer serve you. You delay action, waiting to feel ready. You rationalize fear as wisdom. If any of these sound familiar, your comfort zone may be getting smaller, not because you chose it, but because you didn't fight it. Expansion requires exposure. You don't need to burn your life down. You just need to stretch. Daily. Say yes to one thing that makes you nervous. Speak up when you normally stay quiet. Ask the question. Start the conversation. Take the first step. You don't need to leap. You just need to lean. Because every time you stretch your zone, you expand your life. And the version of you who can handle more. They're just outside your current limits. The 1-degree rule. Most people think growth has to be dramatic. It doesn't. Try this instead. Grow by just 1 degree a day, 1 tougher conversation, 1 extra rep, 1 hour of deep work, 1 risk you'd usually avoid. 1 degree doesn't feel like much, but over time, it changes everything. Because transformation is built on small repeated moments of courage. You don't outgrow the comfort zone in a day. You outgrow it with daily decisions. Ask yourself the right questions. If you want to expand your life, start here. What am I avoiding out of fear? What's one thing I've never done? Because I'm scared to fail. What would my life look like if I got comfortable being uncomfortable? Sit with those questions. Don't rush past them. They reveal where the edges are, and those edges, that's where your next level lives. Final thought. Grow or shrink, but decide you don't get to escape the choice. Your comfort zone is either expanding, or it's shrinking. So decide. You can shrink to fit the world you're in, or you can grow to fit the world you want. Yes, it's scary. Yes, it's hard. But so is staying stuck. So stretch, risk, reach, and when you do, you'll realize you were never really afraid of discomfort. You were afraid of who you might become if you outgrew your limits. And that version of you, they're worth chasing. Chapter 7. The voice in your head. There's a voice you hear every day. Not from your phone, not from your boss, not from anyone outside. It's the one inside. The voice in your head. And that voice, more than anything else, shapes how you see yourself, how you show up, and who you become. You talk to yourself more than anyone else. Let that sink in. You spend more time with your inner dialogue than you do with any person in your life. And if that voice is critical, harsh, or full of doubt, it becomes a prison. But if it's clear, grounded, and empowering, it becomes a compass. So the question isn't if you're listening, it's what you're listening to. The inner critic and the inner coach, everyone has both. The inner critic says, you're not good enough. You always mess things up. Why even try? The inner coach says, you can handle this. Keep going. You've done hard things before. They both live in you. But only one of them should be in charge. Because the voice you feed is the voice that leads. The story of Amina. Amina had always struggled with self-doubt. She was smart, capable. But before every big moment, a job interview, a speech, a conversation, the voice would whisper, "You're going to fail. You're not like the others. They'll see through you." So she stayed quiet, played small, avoided risk. One day, during a leadership training, the speaker said, "Would you talk to your best friend the way you talk to yourself?" Amina froze. The answer was obvious. No, I'd never say those things to someone I love. So why say them to yourself? That was the beginning of change. Not with affirmations or fake positivity, but with awareness. She started noticing the critic, and she began replacing it. Slowly, with a voice of truth. Not "I'm the best," but "I'm learning." Not "I'll fail," but "I'll try anyway." That shift made all the difference. Because when the voice changed, so did the outcomes. Thoughts are not facts. Here's a truth most people forget. Just because you think something doesn't mean it's true. Thoughts are like clouds. They pass through. Some are clear, some are heavy. But they are not facts. They're not laws. They're not your identity. The voice in your head is just one perspective, and you can choose to challenge it. You don't have to obey every thought. You can observe it, question it, and reframe it. That's mental freedom. Your voice is shaped by your environment. The voice in your head didn't come out of nowhere. It was shaped by what you heard as a child, by what teachers said, by the culture you grew up in, by failures, by fear. But here's the good news. If it was shaped, it can be reshaped. You can rewrite the script. You can create a voice that uplifts, not destroys, that guides, not limits. You don't have to carry the noise of the past forever. You can clear space for a new sound, one that reflects who you want to be, not who you used to be. Rewriting the voice. Here's a process to reshape your inner dialogue. Notice the message. When something goes wrong, what's the first thing you say to yourself? Pause and challenge. Ask, is this thought helpful? Is it true? Is there another way to see this? Replace it with a better truth. Not fake hype, but something empowering and grounded. For example, instead of "I'm terrible at this," try, "This is new. I'm learning." Instead of "I always fail," try, "This didn't work out, but I'll try a different way." This isn't about pretending everything is perfect. It's about giving yourself the permission to grow. Train the voice like a muscle, like any habit. Your inner voice is trainable. Start small. Speak kindly to yourself when you make a mistake. Celebrate small wins. Even when no one else sees. Catch negative loops early. And exit them. Over time, that voice becomes stronger, wiser, more trustworthy. It becomes a friend, instead of a bully. And when life gets hard, which it will, that voice will be the one that carries you through. Silence the noise that's not yours. Sometimes, the voice in your head isn't yours at all. It's someone else's. A parent, a critic, an ex, a failure that still echoes. You don't have to keep replaying that track. You can press stop. You can delete the file. You don't owe your future to voices that shaped your past. You get to choose what you listen to now. Final thought. You become what you tell yourself. In the end, your identity is shaped by repetition. The stories you tell, the thoughts you allow, the voice you follow. So speak carefully. Speak truthfully. Speak kindly. Because you are always listening. And the most important conversation you'll ever have is the one you have with yourself. Chapter 8. Progress over perfection. Perfection sounds noble. It wears a good disguise. It looks like high standards. It sounds like excellence. But in truth, perfection is fear dressed up as virtue. It's fear of being judged, fear of failing, fear of not being good enough. And that fear keeps you stuck, waiting, hesitating, rehearsing instead of acting. That's why perfection isn't the goal. Progress is perfection paralysis. Have you ever had a great idea, but never started? You told yourself, "I'll begin when it's the right time. I just need to plan more." It's not ready yet. But underneath those words was one deeper truth. I'm scared to do it wrong. That's perfection talking. It tells you to wait until it's flawless. But here's what it never admits. Flawless never comes. Progress, however, is available every day. Perfectionism creates paralysis. Progress creates momentum. And momentum is what changes your life. The story of Ravi wanted to launch his own online course. He spent months designing slides, rewriting scripts, watching tutorials, waiting for the perfect mic, the perfect background, the perfect launch plan. You know what happened? Nothing. He never launched. Not because he wasn't ready, but because he was too focused on looking ready. One day, a friend said, "Just post the first lesson. Messy is better than nothing." So he did. It wasn't polished. The audio was rough, but people responded. They didn't need perfect. They needed real. That lesson launched his whole brand. Itu says he can perfect. It needed real. Not because it was flawless, but because he finally got out of his own way. That's what progress does. Start before you're ready. You don't need to know everything to begin. You just need to start moving. You can improve as you go. You can adjust. You can learn. But none of that happens until you take the first step. Don't wait to feel ready. That moment may never come. Ready is a decision, not a condition. Done beats perfect. Every time you can spend months polishing something no one sees, or you can release something imperfect that creates impact. Progress isn't sloppy. It's strategic. It means choosing action over endless revision. It means knowing when good enough is actually enough. This mindset isn't about settling. It's about building. Because done creates results. And results teach you more than any plan ever will. Perfection is self-protection. At its core, perfectionism is about control. If you make it perfect, no one can criticize it. You won't have to feel vulnerable. You can avoid rejection. But that also means you avoid growth. Because growth requires exposure. It requires feedback. It requires doing things before you've mastered them. Perfection keeps your potential locked in a box. Progress sets it free. Small wins, big momentum success, isn't built in leaps. It's built in layers. 1 page a day becomes a book. 1 workout a week becomes a habit. 1 honest conversation becomes a better relationship. Small wins compound. They add up. They build confidence. Every step forward, even the imperfect ones, is progress. So don't dismiss small moves. They lead to big changes. Ask yourself, am I avoiding or advancing? Here's how to tell if perfectionism is in the way. Are you endlessly preparing without launching? Are you revising the same thing over and over? Are you afraid of feedback because it might expose flaws? Are you waiting for the perfect time to start? If yes, it's time to shift. Start where you are. Use what you have. Do what you can. That's real progress. Perfectionism kills creativity. Creativity thrives on freedom, on experimentation, on trying and tweaking. Perfectionism suffocates that. It says don't start until it's guaranteed to succeed. But that guarantee doesn't exist. Progress gives you permission to explore, to try something new, to get it wrong, then get it better. Without that freedom, nothing great is ever built. Progress is sustainable. Perfection isn't. No one can operate at perfect all the time. You'll burn out, you'll break down, or you'll give up entirely. Progress, though, it's manageable, repeatable, realistic. And that's what creates long-term success. 1 step, then another, and another. Not perfect, but powerful. Final thought. Keep moving forward. Don't aim to be perfect. Aim to be present. Aim to be consistent. Aim to be improving. You don't need to impress the world. You need to show up for yourself. That's what matters most. Because in the long run, it's not the perfect who win. It's the persistent. So trade perfection for progress and keep going. Chapter 9. The Power of Daily Battles. Big goals are exciting. They sound bold. They feel powerful. They look impressive on paper, but they're not what changes your life. Daily battles do. The choices you make today, the small ones, the quiet ones, those are the moments that shape your future. Because success isn't built in one giant leap, it's built one day at a time. Your life is a series of small decisions. Every day you're faced with hundreds of tiny decisions. Do I get up when the alarm rings, or hit snooze? Do I open my journal, or scroll my phone? Do I go to the gym, or tell myself I'll start tomorrow? These don't feel like battles, but they are. Each one is a test of your standards. Each one is a vote for the person you're becoming. No crowd, no applause, just you, and the choice. And the more daily battles you win, the more powerful you become. The myth of the big break. People love the idea of a turning point, a moment when everything changes. They picture a book deal, a promotion, a viral post, one decision that transforms everything. But that's a myth. Big breaks don't create success. They reveal it. They expose the work you've been doing quietly. All those daily battles you've been winning behind the scenes. That's what people call overnight success. But real winners know there are no overnight victories, only daily ones. The story of Eli. Eli was a young designer, talented, hungry. He wanted to land a dream job at a top creative agency. Instead of waiting for opportunity, he decided to show up. Every day. For 365 days, he posted one new design, one logo, one illustration, one creative piece. Most days, no one noticed. Some days, he wanted to quit, but he kept going. By the end of the year, his work had improved dramatically. One of his posts got picked up by a major brand. That led to a message. That message led to a meeting. That meeting led to a job. People said, "Wow, that happened fast." Eli just smiled, because he knew the truth. It didn't happen fast. It happened daily. The compound effect is real. Small things done consistently don't stay small. They build momentum. They create powerful results over time. Think about it like this. Read 10 pages a day, equal sign 12 plus books a year. Do 15 minutes of exercise, equal sign over 90 hours a year. Write 200 words a day, equal sign a full-length book in 6 months. The numbers add up. But most people don't see it because they quit too early. They expect instant results. And when it doesn't happen fast, they stop. But the winners, they keep going. They know the power isn't in the result. It's in the rhythm. Discipline is a daily decision. You don't get disciplined. You practice discipline. And you practice it daily. Not when it's easy. Not when it's convenient. Not when you feel like it. Every day you show up. You strengthen your identity. You prove to yourself, I follow through. I do the hard things. I keep showing up. And over time, that self-trust becomes unshakable. Routines shape results. Winners don't just work harder, they work smarter, by building routines that carry them. Morning rituals, focused blocks of time, clear priorities, daily goals. These aren't just productivity hacks. They're the structures that help you win daily battles. Because willpower fades. But routines endure. Design your day, or your day will design you. Ask yourself every morning, what battle will I win today? You don't need to win every war today, but you do need to win one battle. Show up to the workout. Write the first paragraph. Speak up in the meeting. Eat one clean meal. Resist one distraction. One battle. One win. That's progress. Stack enough of those wins, and your confidence grows. Your habits get stronger. Your results get bigger. It's not about perfect days. It's about consistent effort. Some days you'll be tired. Some days you'll slip. That's okay. Winning daily battles doesn't mean never losing. It means coming back stronger. It means not letting one bad day become a bad week. Consistency beats intensity. Every time. Because showing up, even when it's hard, is what separates the committed from the curious. Final thought: small wins. Big life. You don't need to change your life in one massive moment. You need to show up today. That's it. Do the work. Take the step. Win the battle in front of you. Then do it again tomorrow. Because over time, those daily victories add up to something remarkable. They add up to you. Stronger, sharper, more grounded, more resilient. And the future version of you. They're not built in a single event. They're built in daily battles. So start now. Win today. That's enough. Chapter 10. The company you keep. You've probably heard the phrase, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. It sounds simple, but it holds a deep truth. The people around you shape the person you become. Your mindset, your energy, your standards, your habits, they're all influenced, every day, by your environment, and your closest circle. That's your environment in human form. Proximity is power. You don't rise alone, you don't fall alone, either. If you surround yourself with people who push you to grow, you grow. If you surround yourself with people who settle, you settle. It's not judgment, it's gravity. We're all pulled by the energy we allow close. So look around, who's influencing you? Are they lifting you higher, or slowly pulling you down? This isn't about ego, it's about elevation. The story of Marcus and Jay. Marcus and Jay were childhood friends. They played together, learned together, but life started to shift. Marcus got serious. He wanted more growth, more structure, more purpose. Jay didn't. Jay preferred ease, late nights, cheap talk, no ambition. At first, Marcus tried to keep both lives, but the tension grew. Every time he made progress, Jay made fun of it. You're too serious, man. You think you're better than us? It wasn't obvious at first, but it wore Marcus down. One day, he realized something. I'm fighting for my future, but I'm keeping company with my past. That moment changed everything. He didn't cut Jay off with anger. He just made a decision to spend more time with people who matched his mindset, not his memories. That one shift helped him build momentum. Because who you walk with determines where you end up. Energy is contagious. If you walk into a room full of negative people, you feel it. It drains you. It shrinks your hope. It quiets your voice. But if you walk into a room of driven, focused, honest people, it lights you up. It raises your bar. It calls something out of you. This isn't magic. It's science. Energy is real, and it's contagious. So what energy are you soaking in? Who are you around when you're most inspired? Who are you with when you start doubting yourself? That awareness can change everything. Different circles for different seasons. Not every person is meant to walk every part of your journey. Some friends were right for who you were, not for who you're becoming. That doesn't mean you stop loving them. It means you start leading yourself. Some people need less access. Some need more. And that's okay. It's not about cutting people off to feel superior. It's about protecting your mission. Because your environment is either feeding your growth or feeding your distractions. Choose wisely. The 4 types of people. Let's make it simple. There are 4 types of people in your life. Builders. They challenge you, support you. Encourage the best in you. You grow around them. Drainers. They complain. Gossip. Make excuses. You shrink around them. Disruptors. They may challenge you, but in unhealthy ways. Jealousy. Passive aggression. Sabotage. Mirrors. They reflect who you currently are. They may not push you, but they keep you grounded. You need builders. You can survive with mirrors, but you must limit drainers, and stay alert around disruptors. Audit your circle, and be honest. Not just about who they are, but about who you are around them. Are you a builder too? This chapter isn't just about others. It's about you. Because the company you keep also keeps you. So ask yourself, do I lift people up or pull them down? Do I challenge my friends to be better or help them stay the same? Do I celebrate growth in others or get uncomfortable when they change? Be the kind of person you want around you. And over time, those people will find you too. Like attracts like, leaders find leaders. Builders build circles that build each other. You don't need many, just the right few. You don't need a crowd, you need a crew. A few people who speak truth, not just comfort. Cheer for you in private, not just public. Call you out when you drift. Stay when things get hard. Push you when you start to settle. These people are rare, but they exist. And when you find them, protect them, value them, become one of them. Final thought. Your circle is your compass. You can't expect to stay on course if everyone around you is lost. Your circle isn't just company, it's a compass. So look around and ask yourself, who helps me aim higher? Who reminds me of who I want to be? Who challenges me to rise, even when it's uncomfortable? That's the company you keep. Choose them with intention, because your future depends on it. Chapter 11. Setbacks aren't signals to stop. You had a plan. You made the effort. You showed up. And still, you hit a wall. That's life. Setbacks happen. Plans fail. Progress stalls. But here's the mistake most people make. They take it personally. They take it as a sign. A signal to stop. But it's not. A setback is not a stop sign. It's a test. A test of your patience, your persistence, and your belief in what you're building. Failure isn't final. It's feedback. When something doesn't work, it's not the end. It's information. It's life, giving you data. What didn't work? What did you miss? What could be done differently? That's not failure. That's refinement. You're not being rejected. You're being redirected. Setbacks teach you what success won't. They reveal gaps, expose weaknesses, and strengthen resilience. But only if you keep going. The story of Layla. Layla started a podcast. She had passion. She had a message. She had consistency. But after 6 months, her audience was still small. The downloads barely moved. She felt invisible. She almost quit. Until she got a message from a listener. Your last episode helped me through a really hard week. Please don't stop. That message reminded her. Impact isn't always measured in likes or numbers. It's measured in lives. Layla kept going. Not for fame. Not for instant reward. But for alignment. 2 years later, her podcast grew. Because she grew. The early silence wasn't a stop signal. It was her training ground. Most people quit too soon. It's not talent that separates winners. It's endurance. Most people quit on the 40-yard line. Right before the curve bends. Right before the shift happens. Why? Because it got hard. Because it got quiet. Because it didn't go according to plan. But anything worthwhile, anything meaningful, comes with resistance. If it was easy, everyone would have it. And if it mattered, you wouldn't walk away so quickly. So if you're in the middle of a setback, good. That means you're doing something real, something brave. Keep going. Setbacks reveal character. How you respond when it's easy doesn't define you. It's how you respond when things go wrong. When the deal falls through, when the progress disappears. Do you panic? Do you quit? Do you blame? Or do you pause? Rethink. Push forward with more clarity. Setbacks show you who you are, but more importantly, they show you who you can become. Because resilience isn't built in the comfort zone. It's built in the dark. When you choose to move anyway, reframe the meaning. What if your setback isn't happening to you, but for you? What if it's not punishment, but preparation? What if the closed door is forcing you to find a better one? The meaning you attach to pain matters. If you see setbacks as signs to stop, you'll surrender your potential. But if you see them as signposts, you'll gain wisdom, depth, and power. You get to choose the meaning. Choose the one that keeps you moving. Resistance is part of the process. There is no path without pushback. No dream without delay. No growth without growing pains. So expect resistance. And when it shows up, don't see it as the end. See it as confirmation that you're in motion. Because still water doesn't make waves. Movement does. If you're facing setbacks, it means you're alive. Engaged. Challenging the old. That's not something to fear. It's something to respect. Ask better questions. Don't ask, why is this happening to me? Ask, what is this trying to teach me? What part of me needs to evolve to handle this? How can I grow from this without quitting on myself? Better questions bring better direction, and better direction brings better outcomes. You can either let the setback define the end of the chapter, or let it build the character for the next one. Setbacks aren't the opposite of progress. They are part of it. Progress is not a straight line. It zigzags. It pauses. It redirects. And that's okay. Sometimes you'll take 2 steps forward, then 1 step back. That's still forward. What matters isn't the pace. It's the persistence. Keep moving. Even if it's slow. Even if it's quiet. Because every great story has a turning point. But that turning point only comes when you refuse to turn back. Final thought: don't stop. Adjust. You don't have to quit. You might just need to adjust. Rethink your strategy. Revisit your timing. Realign your focus. But whatever you do, don't stop because of one tough season. You've come too far. Setbacks are not a verdict. They are a test. So breathe. Refocus. Recommit. Because the next step, the one you take right after the setback, that's the one that defines you. Chapter 12. Your future is listening. Every decision you make today, every word you speak, every action you take, every excuse you allow, is being recorded. Not by the world, not by the people around you, but by one person, your future self. They're listening. They're watching. They're waiting. Not with judgment, but with hope. Because what you do now is building the life they will have to live. You're creating a legacy in real time. We often talk about the future as something separate, something far away, something we'll figure out later. But later is just a collection of todays. And every day you are casting a vote. A vote for who you will become. A vote for the life you will live. So ask yourself, are you building a future you'll be proud to inherit? Or are you leaving behind problems you'll regret creating? Because your future self, they're not a stranger. They're just you, with the consequences. The story of Noah. Noah was a college student who hated budgeting. He lived check to check, spent without thinking, and told himself, I'll figure it out when I make more money. 10 years later, he made more money. But his habits hadn't changed. He was still broke, still stressed, still stuck. Why? Because the future didn't solve his problems. It just magnified them. Eventually he realized, the choices I avoided in my 20s are the burdens I'm carrying in my 30s. That moment woke him up. He stopped pushing decisions forward and started taking them seriously. Now, because he realized something powerful, the future doesn't fix you. It reflects you. The echo of today, your future self, will echo what you practice now. If you practice self-discipline today, you'll have more freedom tomorrow. If you avoid discomfort today, you'll have fewer options tomorrow. If you invest in your health, your learning, your relationships today, your future will thank you. But if you delay, ignore, distract, your future self will pay the price. The echo will still arrive. You just won't like what it says. Write the letter you'd want to receive. Imagine this, you open a letter. It's from you. 10 years older. What would you want that version of you to say? Thank you for staying disciplined. Thank you for taking the risk. Thank you for not quitting when things got hard. Thank you for choosing the hard path over the easy out. Or would they say, why didn't you start sooner? Why did you let fear lead? Why did you waste so much time? You are writing that letter now, with every choice you make. So be intentional. Write a message that your future self will be proud to receive. The future is built in quiet moments. Not in grand gestures. Not in big speeches. But in the little things. Choosing water over soda. Studying for 1 extra hour. Going for the walk when you don't feel like it. Saying no to something that doesn't align. Saying yes to something that scares you. These moments feel small, but they are the bricks of the life you are building. You don't have to control the whole future. You just have to win today. Protect the person you're becoming. There's a version of you that's strong, calm, disciplined, wise, free. They don't get here by accident. They are shaped by what you say yes to, and what you say no to, now. So protect them. Don't leave them with your mess. Leave them with your legacy. Let them inherit momentum, not regret. Let them look back and say, I'm grateful you did the hard work. You made my life easier. That's real success. Not cars, not clout, but creating peace for your future self. The future listens more than the past speaks. Most people live from the past. Old pain, old habits, old stories. But your past is over. It's written. Your future is still listening, still waiting for instructions, still wide open. So stop repeating what held you back, and start speaking into what can move you forward. Make every action a message. I believe in what I'm building. Your future is listening. Make sure it hears something worth becoming. Final thought. Make it easier for the you that comes next. You don't have to solve everything today. You just have to make it easier for the person who comes after you. Make their job lighter. Make their path clearer. Make their choices stronger. They'll face storms too. They'll get tired too. But they'll have something you gave them. A foundation built with care. So do the hard things now. Say the brave words now. Take the honest steps now. Because the future isn't waiting to judge you. It's waiting to be built by you. And it starts here. Conclusion. You're the problem. You're the solution. You've made it here, not by accident, not by luck, but because something inside you refuses to stay the same. This journey hasn't been about anyone else. Not your past, not your parents, not your circumstances. It's been about you, your fears, your excuses, your habits, your identity, and most of all, your decisions. You are the obstacle, and the answer everything that's held you back. You've touched it, carried it, protected it. But everything that can set you free, that's inside you too. You are both the reason things haven't changed, and the reason they finally can. No more blaming. No more waiting. No more delay, disguised as planning. This book was never about information. It was about responsibility. And now that you've seen what's possible, you can't unsee it. You don't need permission anymore. You've spent enough time asking the world for permission. Permission to try. Permission to speak. Permission to become something more. But here's the truth. No one is coming to validate your vision. You must validate it yourself. By showing up. By doing the work. By refusing to quit when it gets quiet. Your life doesn't shift when others believe in you. It shifts when you believe in you. Nothing changes until you do. You can read the books, watch the videos, listen to the podcasts, but none of it matters. If you don't act, growth is not passive. Change is not automatic. You have to confront the patterns. You have to challenge the voice. You have to win the battle. You versus you. And you can. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be willing to take the first step. Willing to keep showing up. Willing to keep becoming. The work is ongoing, but so is the reward. There is no final version of you. No perfect ending. No moment where it all clicks forever. The work continues. The voice returns. The resistance shows up again. But now you know what to do. You know where the power lives. Not in the world outside, but in the choice inside. The choice to own your life. Every day. Every step. Even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. You are stronger than you thought. If you've made it to this point, it means something inside you is ready. Ready to stop waiting. Ready to stop blaming. Ready to lead. You are capable of more. You are built for more. You are built for more. You are worthy of more. But you must rise. And rising begins with responsibility. Because you've always had the key. You're the one holding it. You're the one who decides what happens next. And that's not a burden. It's the greatest freedom you'll ever have. Final thought. This is your move. No more hiding. No more rewinding. No more pretending you don't know what to do. You're the problem. You're the solution. And now you begin.